In solo leveling, after the president of Eugen Construction fell to the floor for some unknown reason, the doctor at the emergency center asked him if he ever heard of the eternal slumber. Patients who are diagnosed with eternal slumber cannot regain consciousness, but it didn't simply mean that they were unable to wake up, since while asleep the patient's life force is quickly drained. And the only way to keep them alive is to use a life support device that runs on mana. This disease began to appear shortly after the appearance of Gates, and has unalived many who could not afford life support. The doctor went on to explain that patients diagnosed with eternal slumber experience constant drowsiness and later fail to wake up from their sleep. This made Jinho's father ask what that had anything to do with hunters. He replied, saying that mana had a deep correlation with eternal slumber, and a certain amount of people were naturally predisposed to be mana intolerant. The symptoms of eternal slumber develop when these type of people are exposed to mana over a long period of time. So he must be careful of essence stones, mana crystals, and individuals who have been endowed with mana. And judging from the sudden development of his symptoms, there must have been some kind of trigger, making the doctor ask if there was a hunter in his family. The president thought back to his discussion with Jinho, thinking that with each passing day, more and more practical uses of mana are being discovered, and the number of awakened beings are continuing to grow as well. While gripping his sheets, he thought to himself that in a world like this, people who are mana intolerant were just. "I've become a victim of natural selection," he stated. But realizing what he just said made him question if he, the great Yu Myung-han, had really become a victim. But he would never lose, and he hasn't lost yet. Meanwhile, on an island off the coast of Japan, a monster stepped out of the water as a living ant had successfully landed on the shore. A pair of hunters walked alongside the road as the guy on the right said that nothing could beat the peace and quiet. A villager then thanked Mr. Nagawa for keeping the neighborhood safe and asked who was the guy next to him, questioning if he was a newcomer. The hunter confirmed it, asking him to welcome him. Nagawa then told the new guy that it may not seem important, but he needed to be sure to make his rounds and become acquainted with the townspeople. Because if a gate opens up on a remote island like theirs, they're doomed. Because if they take too long to find the gate, a dungeon break might occur which would wipe their entire town. Explaining that they had to locate the gate as quickly as possible using the mana meter and contact the hunters outside of the island for help. It would take 3 days for reinforcements to arrive, meaning they must locate it within 3 days of its appearance. Even though he was a D rank and the new guy was an E rank, they were still the only hunters in the town, so they had to be responsible. But the new guy suddenly noticed something in the middle of his yap session, telling Nagawa to look over there. As a strange silhouette approached, the D rank questioned if that was a person, asking, "Who goes there? Let me know if you guys think these two survive."